Today is December 31st, the last day of 2016, and I just wanted to dedicate this video, this episode of my blog, to just expressing how grateful I am for just everything that's in my life. Part of that gratitude comes because back in 2013, I don't think I've mentioned this before, I had a medical crisis and pretty much almost died, or technically I did die in the hospital. So ever since that point, I have just really felt very strongly and very passionate about pursuing passions, sort of doing a bucket list, because it really became crystal clear to me that I need to live every day of my life. I feel compelled to do this, to live every single day of my life like it's my last, because in 2013, it pretty much was. It was a medical crisis, and from that point on, I have lived every single day of my life pursuing a bucket list of things, because I just don't know when the day is going to be, which day is going to be my last day of my life, and I just want to do everything that I possibly can to pursue my bucket list of passions. Travel is number one on that list. Languages, culture, these are other top things for me. I strongly believe in intentional living and building my lifestyle around accomplishing my passions and not just wasting time doing frivolous things. So, that said, I want to just go through some of the things I've done in 2016 and express how grateful I am for those things. I'm just going to wander around the city of Granada here and talk a little bit about what I've done during 2016 and pursuing my bucket list of passions, and express how grateful I am for those things. I guess first I'd like to emphasize this is not a bragging list, not at all. I'm absolutely grateful and feel thankful for what I've been able to do during 2016. It's really about pursuing my personal passions and my bucket list. So during 2016, I went to 33 different countries in 2 different continents. I went to South America for the first portion of the year up until May, first week of May. Then I flew from South America, from Rio, over to Vienna, Austria. And then I spent the rest of the year here in Europe, where I am now today in Spain. So I went to 33 different countries, and I think 94, 95, 96 cities, so over 90 cities during this time. And to be honest, that's a little bit too much. That's a little bit too quick. I'm feeling a little bit of travel burnout at this point. So that's what I've accomplished this year. I'm going to go through 7 different places that I just had fantastic, amazing experiences this last year, and why I'm grateful for those experiences that I had. In February of this year, I went to Peru, and I went to the most famous place in South America to visit, and I think it was one of the first highlights of the year. I went to a city called Cusco, and then nearby to Aguas Caliente, and just above Aguas Caliente is Machu Picchu, which is a super famous place to go visit. It's this incredible, surreal, ancient city that's perched on top of a hill, and it's literally floating at cloud level. So part of the time that you're up there, you're floating in the clouds, and then there's moments where everything's revealed from the clouds and you can see the actual walls of this ancient civilization up there. So it's quite a surreal, incredible experience, quite majestic, something I highly recommend for anyone. I think one of the things that I was grateful for in going to Cusco and Machu Picchu is I just thoroughly enjoy trying new foods, exploring new cultures, new places. And Cusco was just a delightful city. It's a little bit touristy, but the prices are great there. The food is awesome. The people are super nice. I'm able to practice my Spanish and see just a beautiful, incredible place. I spent about 6 days there, Then went up to Aguas Caliente for 2 nights and up to see Machu Picchu. It was just quite the incredible experience and something that I would highly recommend for anyone that wants to travel in South America. The second item on my bucket list for 2016 was to do a meditation retreat. For several years I've been wanting to do a 10-day special training from a program called Vipassana. It's a Vipassana program, a special kind of meditation retreat. So when I was in Peru, I went to a city called Lima, which is the capital, and outside of Lima they had this meditation retreat for 10 days. What's special about this is you go 9 of the 10 days without any talking, without any eye contact, and just doing meditation. You start at about 4:30 in the morning and you meditate till 9 o'clock at night. Every day, just taking short breaks of like 10 or 15 minutes, a 2-hour lunch, and you just meditate. And they go through a system of training, and it's something that I had wanted to do for many, many years. So this was a major bucket list item for me to up my game, up my level of ability for meditation, and to do this while I was traveling. Most of these places that I'm mentioning here for 2016 are listed, actually all of them are listed on my website, on my blog website, 7wonderstheworld.com. One of those places is in Chile, Santiago, Chile. It's the capital of Chile. It's absolutely spectacular, and I'm not sure exactly why this particular city just sort of radiated, it just sort of felt good. So Santiago, Chile was a special place for me. It was unexpected. It was not on my bucket list, just a place that I thoroughly enjoyed visiting. The fourth place on my list is Edinburgh, Scotland. It's a totally unexpected surprise to me. I had no expectations for Scotland and actually knew very little about the country or about Edinburgh. I arrived there and just immediately fell in love with the architecture and the culture of Scotland. It was just quite a fabulous experience for me, and everything that I could dream of, from like fantasy books and castles and ancient medieval buildings, it was all there in Edinburgh. The fifth place to make my list, and it was also a total surprise to me, and that's Tallinn, Estonia, and immediately fell in love with this city. It has everything that I love about travel, all in this one little area. So Tallinn is a modern city, the main city itself, and in this center is the old town. And so the old town area has been totally restored and it's preserved, and it's your typical fairy tale type city. It's just absolutely gorgeous, with little towers and high walls and colorful like buildings. Each building is slightly different color, with wonderful windows and tall narrow streets with cobblestone type paving stones. It's just quite delightful. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience with amazing food. It's a cheap place to go, and it made my list probably as the #1 favorite place of all of Europe for this last year that I've been. The sixth place to make my list of favorites for 2016 is Croatia. I actually went to 8 cities here in Croatia, and each of them was just spectacular. It's hard for me to choose between them. If I had to choose, probably would be Split or maybe Dubrovnik. Basically what I loved about each of these cities is very similar to what I found charming about Tallinn, Estonia. Seeing a modern city on the outside with a preserved old city in the interior. So I love that old city area, and being able to walk from the more modern conveniences into the old city area and experience that type of a environment where everything's charming and old and paving stones, and everything's sort of been maintained and preserved. The seventh place on my list was really difficult for me to choose. There was 4 or 5 places that were roughly equal. I don't really have a strong preference between these. So I was trying to decide between those. Ultimately, I decided to choose Poland, Krakow or Warsaw, roughly equal. I would say Krakow maybe just by a hair. Just thoroughly enjoyed my time in Poland. The people there were absolutely fabulous. I've been to Poland twice. Both times the people were just the most caring, loving and just going the extra mile to just help someone out. Every time I asked for help, people would just go so far beyond that what was even reasonable or expected. I loved Krakow for the architecture, the inexpensive prices to see everything, the culture that is there. The food is phenomenal, but absolutely love Poland, so I'm going to give it my thumbs up for my 7th location on my bucket list. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that your 2016 year has been a fabulous one. If it wasn't for whatever reason, then maybe this is the time to think about 2017 and looking at intentional living, actually planning out your year to accomplish your passions, your personal bucket list of things that you want to do with your life, and just sort of keeping in mind that you don't know how many days or how many years you have left. And I really try to live every day as though it is going to be my last. And that's really the mindset that I approach the day with. So I'm really looking forward to 2017, and I think it will also be a fabulous year. If you're curious about what my plans are, you can see the video about 2017 for my plans, what I've got coming up. And in closing, I just want to remind you, my personal creeds and things I live by are savoring the moment, living in this current moment right now, and enjoying it, savoring that experience, pursuing my passions. Please pursue your passions. Think about what you're passionate about and go out and grasp it and seize it and make it happen. Make your year happen. And then just choosing to be happy. I really believe it's a choice. Everybody has a certain amount of things that cause them suffering, a certain amount of things that cause them pleasure in their life, and just choosing to recognize and be grateful for the variety of those experiences, and looking at all of the great things that you have in your life and being grateful for those, and accepting the total of the suffering and of the pleasurable things in your life. So I hope that you had a fantastic 2016 and that your 2017 will be a year of amazing experiences for you. Thank you for watching. See you next episode.